The greatest secret to longevity isn't about adding more years to your life. Perhaps it's about adding more life to your years. Throughout this video, you'll discover why strong legs may be one of the greatest investments you can make for your future health. Have you ever stopped to wonder, what if one of the biggest secrets to living a longer life isn't hidden inside your heart or your brain, but somewhere much lower? Most people believe that longevity depends on protecting the heart. Others think it's all about keeping the brain sharp. And while both are incredibly important, modern science has uncovered something that surprises even many healthcare professionals. One of the strongest predictors of a long, healthy, and independent life may actually be the strength of your legs. Yes, your leg muscles. At first, that might sound strange. After all, your legs simply help you walk, climb stairs, stand up from a chair, or carry groceries into the house. So what could they possibly have to do with how long you live? As it turns out, far more than most people ever imagined. For decades, scientists have followed hundreds of thousands of adults around the world. They tracked their health, their physical abilities, their daily habits, and over time, they noticed a remarkable pattern. People with stronger leg muscles didn't just move more easily, they tended to live longer. They stayed independent longer. They were less likely to be hospitalized. They experienced fewer falls, fewer broken bones, and they maintained a much higher quality of life as they grew older. Perhaps the most encouraging part is this. These weren't only elite athletes. They weren't marathon runners. They weren't spending hours every day in the gym. Many were ordinary people living ordinary lives. The difference was simply that they kept their muscles active. Because your muscles are far more than pieces of tissue that help you move. Today, scientists recognize skeletal muscle as one of the body's most important organs. Every time your muscles contract, they release powerful chemical messengers into your bloodstream. These natural substances communicate with nearly every major organ in your body. They support your brain. They help protect your heart. They improve blood sugar regulation. They strengthen your immune system. They reduce chronic inflammation. Some researchers even believe that active muscles may slow certain biological processes associated with aging. Think about that for a moment. Every step you take, every time you stand up, every flight of stairs you climb, your muscles are doing much more than moving your body. They're helping to protect it. They're constantly sending signals that tell your body to repair itself, adapt, and stay strong. That's why many experts in healthy aging have shifted their focus over the past decade. Instead of asking only, how do we lose weight? They're asking a different question. How do we prevent muscle loss? Because after the age of 60, losing muscle often becomes a much greater threat than carrying a few extra pounds. When muscle declines, movement becomes more difficult. When movement becomes difficult, balance begins to suffer. When balance suffers, the risk of falling increases. A serious fall can lead to hospitalization. Hospitalization often means days, or even weeks, of inactivity. And inactivity causes even more muscle loss. Without realizing it, many older adults become trapped in a cycle that slowly steals their strength, confidence, and independence. But here's the good news. That cycle can be reversed, and it's almost never too late to start. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or even well into your 90s, your muscles still have an incredible ability to respond when you begin using them again. The human body is remarkably adaptable. The scientific discovery. After all, we can't follow two identical versions of the same person throughout an entire lifetime. We can't control every variable: diet, stress, environment, genetics, lifestyle. So instead, researchers took a different approach. They studied large populations of people over many years, in some cases, tens of thousands of participants. They measured different aspects of physical health: walking speed, grip strength, balance, muscle power in the lower body. And then what they discovered was remarkably consistent. People with stronger leg muscles had a significantly lower risk of death from all causes, not just one specific disease, but overall mortality risk. And what makes this finding even more interesting is this. It wasn't limited to athletes or highly active individuals. Even among ordinary people living normal daily lives, the same pattern appeared. Stronger legs consistently meant better long-term survival outcomes. But why? At first, even researchers were surprised. Because for a long time, muscles were seen simply as mechanical structures, things that help us move. Nothing more. Today, we understand something far more powerful. Muscle is not just tissue. It is an active endocrine organ. When your muscles contract, they release chemical signals called myokines. These myokines travel through your bloodstream and influence almost every major system in your body. They communicate with your brain, they affect your liver, they interact with your immune system, they influence fat metabolism, and perhaps most importantly, they help regulate inflammation. And chronic inflammation is now considered one of the key drivers of aging. Not the kind of inflammation you notice right away, but a slow, silent, low-grade inflammation that builds up over years. It damages blood vessels, it stresses the heart, it impairs brain function, and it contributes to many age-related diseases. Every time you walk, every time you stand up, every time you climb a few steps, your muscles are not just moving your body, they are actively sending biochemical signals that help keep your system in balance. In a way, your muscles act like a natural pharmacy, continuously releasing compounds that support healing, repair, and regulation throughout your body. Stronger muscles produce stronger signals. There is something important to understand here. This does not mean that muscle strength is the only factor in longevity. Far from it. Long life is influenced by many elements: genetics, nutrition, sleep quality, stress levels, social connection, access to healthcare, and overall lifestyle. However, muscle strength stands out for one key reason. It is one of the few factors that is both highly influential and highly changeable. You cannot change your past, you cannot change your genetics, you cannot turn back time, but you can improve your muscle function at almost any age, even later in life. Research shows that people in their later ages can still improve strength and mobility through consistent, safe resistance exercise. And this leads us to an important question. If muscle strength is so important, why focus so much on the legs specifically? Why not the arms or the shoulders? The answer lies in scale. Why leg muscles matter so much? The answer is actually quite simple, but incredibly powerful. Your leg muscles are the largest muscle group in your entire body. They include your thighs, your glutes, your hamstrings, and your calves. Together, they represent a massive portion of your total muscle mass, and that matters far more than most people realize. Because muscle is not just about strength, it is about metabolism. Think of your body like an engine. A small engine burns less fuel, but it also produces less power. A larger engine uses more energy, but it can do far more work. Your muscles function in a very similar way. The more muscle mass you have, especially in the lower body, the more efficiently your body manages energy. One of the most important roles of muscle is blood sugar regulation. After you eat, glucose enters your bloodstream. Your muscles act like a storage system, absorbing and using that glucose for energy. When your muscle mass is strong and active, your body is far more efficient at controlling blood sugar levels. But when muscle mass declines, that system becomes less effective. Over time, this can contribute to higher blood sugar levels, increased fat storage, and a higher risk of metabolic disease. This is one of the hidden reasons why muscle loss in older adults is so closely linked to conditions like type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. But the importance of leg muscles goes even deeper than metabolism. Think about your daily life for a moment. Getting out of bed in the morning, walking to the kitchen, standing up from a chair. These are not exercise movements. These are life movements, and nearly all of them depend heavily on your legs. This is why maintaining leg strength is directly tied to independence, because the ability to walk is, in many ways, the ability to live freely. Doctors who specialize in aging often say that one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging is not lab results, but mobility. If you can move well, you can usually live well. You can take care of yourself, you can stay socially active, you can maintain routines. There is also another important factor that researchers pay close attention to: walking speed. Something as simple as how fast a person walks can reveal a surprising amount about their overall health. Walking is not a simple movement. It is a full-body coordination task. Your muscles must work together. Your heart must pump efficiently. Your lungs must supply oxygen. Your brain must coordinate balance and timing. Your nervous system must process thousands of signals every second. Because of this, walking speed is often considered a vital sign of aging. Slower walking speed has been associated with higher health risks over time, not because walking slowly is dangerous on its own, but because it often reflects deeper changes in muscle strength, balance, and overall physical resilience. The encouraging part is this: walking speed is not fixed. It can improve, and when it improves, it often reflects improvements in muscle strength as well. Which brings us back to the core idea. Stronger legs don't just help you move better, they help you stay independent longer. And independence, in many ways, is one of the most valuable forms of health, because health is not just about living longer, it is about living on your own terms. The silent threat, sarcopenia. Now we need to talk about something most people have never heard of, but it quietly affects millions of older adults around the world. Its name is sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that occurs with aging. And the most dangerous part? It happens silently. There is no sudden moment when it begins, no clear warning. It develops slowly over years. At first, it may not be noticeable. A chair feels slightly harder to get up from. Stairs feel a bit more tiring. Carrying groceries becomes more challenging. But most people simply accept these changes as normal aging. And that is where the problem begins. Because while aging is natural, rapid muscle loss does not have to be. In fact, research shows that much of this decline can be slowed, or even partially reversed, through consistent strength training. The consequences of sarcopenia are significant. It increases the risk of falls. It increases the risk of fractures, especially hip fractures. It can lead to longer hospital stays. It can slow recovery after illness or surgery. And most importantly, it can reduce independence. For many older adults, the greatest fear is not simply living longer. It is losing the ability to live independently, not being able to dress yourself, not being able to walk safely, not being able to move freely in your own home. And this is where leg strength becomes essential. Because strong legs are not just about movement, they are about freedom, they are about dignity, and they are about maintaining control over your own life. Practical exercises after 60. Now that we understand why leg strength is so important, let's talk about something even more practical. How do you actually build stronger legs safely after the age of 60? You do not need a gym membership. You do not need expensive equipment. And you definitely do not need intense workouts that leave you exhausted. What your body needs most is consistency and simple, safe movements that you can repeat regularly. Because muscles do not respond to perfection. They respond to repetition. Even light resistance, done consistently, can create meaningful improvements over time. Let's go through a few of the most effective and widely recommended exercises for older adults. 1. Sit to stand. Chair exercise. This is one of the most important functional exercises you can do, because it directly reflects a real-life movement you perform every single day. Find a sturdy chair. Sit down with your feet flat on the ground. Cross your arms over your chest, or use the armrests if needed for support. Now slowly stand up, and then gently sit back down. That's it. At first glance, it may seem too simple to matter, but this movement activates multiple muscle groups at once: thighs, glutes, core, and your balance system. Start with just a few repetitions. Even 5 can be enough in the beginning. Then gradually increase over time. The goal is not speed. The goal is control. 2. Heel raises. Stand upright near a counter or a stable surface for support. Slowly rise onto your toes. Hold for a second or two. Then gently lower your heels back down. This exercise strengthens your calves, but its benefits go beyond muscle strength. Your calf muscles play a key role in circulation. They help push blood from your lower legs back toward your heart. That's why some experts refer to them as a second heart. 3. Single leg balance. Balance is one of the most important predictors of fall risk. And the good news is, it can be trained. Stand near a counter or wall for safety. Lightly hold on if needed. Then lift one foot slightly off the ground. Hold for about 10 seconds. Then switch sides. At first, you may feel unsteady. That is completely normal. Balance is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. 4. Step-ups. If you have a safe, low step at home, this is an excellent exercise. Step up slowly with one foot. Bring your body up. Then step back down with control. Repeat with the other leg. This movement mimics climbing stairs. It strengthens your thighs and glutes. And it directly improves one of the most important daily life activities. 5. Walking, the foundation of everything. Perhaps the simplest exercise of all, but also one of the most powerful. The key is not speed. The key is consistency. Start with just 10 minutes a day, then gradually increase. Walking improves circulation, supports heart health, enhances brain function, and helps maintain mobility for years to come. But perhaps most importantly, it keeps you engaged with life. Because movement is not just physical, it is deeply connected to energy, mood, and independence. Small steps create big change. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to do too much too soon. They decide to completely transform their routine overnight, and within days, they become overwhelmed. Then, they stop altogether. But research shows a different truth. Long-term success does not come from intensity, it comes from consistency. 5 repetitions today, 6 tomorrow, a few more next week. Over time, these small actions build something powerful: strength, confidence, and independence. Because your body is always listening, and when you treat it well, it responds. The habits of people who stay strong into old age. When we look at people who live long, healthy, independent lives, a clear pattern begins to emerge. They do not necessarily live extreme lifestyles. They do not all follow perfect diets. They are not all athletes, but they do share one important habit. They keep moving. They stay active in daily life. They walk regularly. They visit friends. They take the stairs when possible. They remain connected to the world around them. In other words, they do not stop using their bodies. And this is crucial, because the human body is designed for movement, not for long periods of inactivity. When we stop using our muscles, the body interprets that as a signal. Maybe we don't need this anymore. And gradually, it begins to reduce strength. This is why aging is not only about time passing, it is also about how we live during that time. Because in many cases, it is not aging that leads to inactivity. It is inactivity that accelerates aging. Every step you take sends a message to your body. I am still strong. I am still capable. I still need these muscles. And the body responds accordingly. This is one of the most powerful discoveries in modern aging science. The human body is far more adaptable than we once believed. Even in later life, even after years of decline, it can still respond. It can still improve. And it can still rebuild strength when given the right stimulus. Final message. As we reach the end of this journey, this video was never just about leg muscles, and it was never just about exercise. It was about independence. It was about dignity. It was about the ability to live life on your own terms for as long as possible. We talked about how leg strength influences nearly every system in your body: metabolism, balance, circulation, brain health, and even your long-term survival. But perhaps the most important message is this: aging is inevitable, but how you age is not fully out of your control. There is a quiet misconception many people carry as they get older. That decline is simply something to accept. That slowing down is unavoidable. That losing strength is just part of getting old. But science tells a more hopeful story. The human body is designed for adaptation. It responds to how you use it, or how you don't use it. And that means every small action matters more than most people realize. A short walk, a few chair stands, a few minutes of movement each day. These may seem insignificant on their own, but over time, they send a powerful message to your body. I am still here. I am still active. I am still capable. And your body listens. Maybe today you are not as strong as you once were. That is okay. Strength is not something you either have or don't have. It is something you rebuild, one step at a time, one repetition at a time, one day at a time. And perhaps the most encouraging truth of all is this: it is never too late to start. Improvement is still possible. Don't think of everything you need to change at once. Think of just one small step, maybe a short walk today, maybe 5 chair stands, maybe choosing the stairs instead of the elevator. Something simple, something doable. Because real change does not begin with motivation alone. It begins with action. One small action that you repeat tomorrow, and the day after that. And slowly, without even noticing, your body begins to change with you. And remember, the journey to a stronger life does not start in a gym. It starts with the legs that carry you through each and every day. Take care of them, and they will take care of you.